Hi there! Welcome to another episode of the Okanagan Gardener and Forager channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about a plant that you may have noticed roadsides or ditches or things like that. And if you're like me, and until recently, I thought it just looked like some big dandelion. And as it turns out, it kind of is a big dandelion. But it's also edible and medicinal. And it's right here! Salsify. Salsify, scientific name is Tragopogon dubius. They have a couple of other names. One is goat's beard, and that is apparently derived from when they're closed up like this. They kind of look, this part kind of looks like a goat's beard hanging out. Another name is Jack go to bed at noon, and that is apparently from their habit of in the morning opening up, and then later on in the day or on overcast days starting to close like this. So they go to bed at noon. They go to bed maybe midday or so. The name is derived from the French salsifis, from French salsifis, which in turn is derived from Latin, and it breaks down to the Latin word solsequim, which breaks down into sol, sun, and sequim, follower. So that kind of jives with the Jack go to bed at noon name. They are an introduced annual or biennial herb from Europe. So they sometimes have a 2-year growth cycle or one, and they can be found throughout North America and often in disturbed sites, roadsides, things like that. Salsify plants can grow 30 to 100 centimeters tall, or about 1 feet to 3 feet tall, and the stem can branch quite a bit. So maybe you see the different flowering heads branching off of the main stem, and along the stem it might exude this milky sap. And the leaves are pretty grass-like, so in this group here it's pretty hard to distinguish them from the grass around them, and maybe here you can see it a little better. These are the salsify leaves, grass-like, and they clasp the stem, meaning they wrap around it. Also, salsify flowers, they're a member of the sunflower family, or the Asteraceae, and a feature of that family is they have these composite head flowers. So this, it looks like it's one flower, but it's actually a whole bunch of little flowers together, and they have only ray flowers, which are the long petals. The long petals are the ray flowers. If there were disc flowers, they'd probably be in the middle. And there are bracts. These are these leaves that go with the petals. When they're closed, they look like this. These are the bracts on the outside. What they do, the bracts stick out farther than the petals. See, when it's open, here are the bracts sticking out farther than the flower petals, the yellow flower petals here. And they're about 3 to 6 centimeters across. I don't think I said it before, but the other common name for salsify for this species, Tragopogon dubius, would be yellow salsify, because there are actually a couple other species of salsify. There is common salsify, or oyster plant. Scientific name is Tragopogon porifolius. That one has purple flowers, and it's apparently the most delicious. The roots are eaten, and they, like the name might imply, oyster plant, taste like oyster. And there's another one that is called meadow salsify. Scientific name is Tragopogon pratensis. That one, it's also yellow, but the bracts, these sticky outy things, don't stick out farther than the petals on meadow salsify. Salsify is edible. The young shoots can be eaten raw or cooked. You could take them and simmer them like asparagus. And the roots, before the flowering stalks emerge, they can be eaten raw or cooked, and they could also be roasted and ground up and used as a coffee substitute. And I'll find one here. Try to find a young one, because the younger ones taste better. They're surprisingly sweet and pretty good. And I don't know what the flavor would be like. I'm terrible at identifying that. I don't know. They just taste good. And as I often say, they taste fresh. Salsify also has some medicinal uses. The milky juice has been taken to relieve heartburn and stomach aches. And the milky juice has also been applied to wounds to stop oozing and bleeding sores. Some indigenous groups collected the dried sap, rolled it up, and chewed it like gum. Like I said earlier, I'm going to collect some of these. They're introduced, so maybe don't feel bad about harvesting them if you find them. I recently became aware that they're edible. And I learned about them from a person on Instagram, Forage Colorado. Great Instagram channel if you're interested. And I'm on Instagram too, so you could follow me there. Okanagan Gardener and Forager. I can't remember how I spelled it. There's an underscore in there somewhere. But he said, yeah, the raw ones are good, but fried is even better. So that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to fry some. I picked them, if they snapped off easily, then I figured they were still good. Now to eat the salsify. I cooked it in coconut oil. I added salt. I probably used too much oil and too much salt, but that still tastes good, and it's really good. It's still like crunchy, but also the leaves get a little crispy. Tastes kind of like asparagus. Anyway, if you like the video, then please give it a thumbs up, and thanks for watching.